everyone, and welcome to Offstage, a conversation with students, hobbyists, and professionals from the world of music about music with me, your host Anagh. And today I have guests Prakash Sontakke and Anurag Sontakke. Prakash sir is a Grammy Award winning Hindustani slide guitarist, and Anurag, his son, who's a very good friend of mine, is a very talented violinist himself who has also recently picked up the bass. Haven't you, Anurag? Yeah. So how are we doing today? How are the both of you doing?
Absolutely fine. Yeah. I think great weather today in Bangalore.
Yeah, today
Feels amazing.
yeah, it's after the rains that have been happening recently, it's a lot better now. But yeah, let's get straight right into it. So both of you, Prakash sir and Anurag, grew up with both parents being musicians, very reputed musicians. So I want to know what it was like having parents as musicians and how it's impacted you as a musician yourself. Prakash sir.
Yeah, means when your parents are musicians, you learn a lot of music without actually formally learning it. So there is a stage in life when it comes when you feel that okay, as per having to say what I have learned technically, then you have to kind of start looking back and focusing on the aspect of learning, because when you know something without knowing that you know it, it's a very weird situation. Like
Right.
you will understand things very quickly because you'll have heard it from childhood, but somebody tries to ask you a specific explanation to what that was, you won't know how to explain because you have not learned it in that process, but then finally when you have to sit down to learn it formally, it feels like, oh my god, this is so boring because I knew all this way early.
Yeah.
Then so it's always essential to understand that it's not just a talent but also a little bit of efforts have to be put in. The efforts and the talent get together ultimately to make it. Like our man, he has got some incredible talent in music note. Like in my house, always like, Anurag, what is this? What note is this?
C sharp.
It's C sharp.
Perfect pitch. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him about it later. Yeah.
So he has perfect pitch, but I don't think that he has understood that it's actually a very valuable information to have, because people will go running, check keyboard. By the time they've forgotten the note in their head, then they're like, oh my God, no, that is a little different from this. But these things are there naturally occurring to him, no? So to make use of this to a further level, to take it to the next level, a little bit of effort has to happen.
Right.
I feel now that after going to college and jamming with his friends and doing music, I get a feeling that maybe he's doing it better now. Because in the school, maybe he felt that it wasn't the best place to maybe display his talent or something. I don't know what he really felt, but I felt like that.
Our school didn't give chance.
Yeah, his school, he always felt that his school was boring. And even we felt the same actually for a long time, but we didn't explain that. Because if we will tell him that your school is boring, obviously he'll just sit on my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was that was his part of it. For me, as I said, that to realize that what you are having as a free knowledge has a great amount of value is the greatest aspect of learning, because I think my parents gave me the valuable concept of how to learn, like it's very clear that, okay, Anagh, this is Are, Gama, Pada, Nisa, this.
Yeah.
So you say, because most of our education in India, at least, has been told to us in a way that when we are told and we are not seeking it, we don't go seeking it ourselves. We don't go looking for it. It's just that this is what it is, and you have to just write that is what is it, and then you get the marks.
Right.
But if you really talk about knowledge, there's a huge difference between information and knowledge. When you actually work on your information and your information becomes multifaceted, that it becomes knowledge. So yeah, that's the greatest journey of being in the musician's family.
Yeah.
You know what you know, and then you know that you actually know it.
Yeah.
Then you understand that you knew it.
Yeah. And Anurag, what was your perspective having not just parents as musicians, but your grandparents also as musicians? But yeah, I would like to know what your perspective also have, because you also are a musician yourself, a very good violinist, and of course you've picked up the bass now, which I'm very proud of, man.
So growing up, I think when my grandparents were still around, it was like there would always be classes everywhere. I remember in the second floor and the ground floor, and like sometimes even here at home, there's be like students everywhere every day. So,
Right.
yeah, I used to be just roaming around the house, and there's be music everywhere. It's like you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
And so it's like many things. So again, so it's like if I learned a new raga on the violin, it would be like, the thing is, everything is familiar. So like if my dad like taught a new raga, and then I'll be like, oh, Amma was teaching that to someone the other day. I heard it over there. So yeah, that's like one good thing. And also, even while learning things on the guitar and the bass, there's a lot of, I made a lot of connections basically, like
familiarity.
Familiarity. Like in the beginning, for me, like C, D, E, F was like Sa Re Ga Ma kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I'll say that and play on the guitar. I do it even now sometimes if I get confused. But
yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Sometimes, I do, like, I read the staff notation and all, but then sometimes it's just like I'll hear it once and I'll be like, okay, this is Rega, Sa, Rega.
Yeah, I think hearing and applying is a lot easier for you than reading staff and playing.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
Yeah, and over time, I'm pretty sure it'll just become faster when you convert like Sa Re Ga Ma to C, D, E, F, G. So it'll help you a lot as a musician than being able to have that skill. So yeah, I can't wait to see what you do with it and what kind of a bass player you'll become. Because I know you picked it up recently, so I want to see what kind of bass player. It'll be good fun, and we have to jam also.
We will.
We will.
He's a great fan of what is that guy?
Flea.
The topless.
Flea. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. He's always full. His body is full of tattoos. So I'm wondering when Anurag will come and say, "Appa, I want a tattoo."
No,
I will also go with him. I'll also get a tattoo.
I'll also come. Why not?
I will get a tattoo of David Gilmour or something. I like David Gilmour.
Yeah.
And
tell me.
I should add one thing. Anurag's and even my exposure to bass was technically because of Vikku, Mr. Kedar.
My father.
I really understood bass actually when I actually saw Vikku playing so closely, because it's just jammed randomly. Till then I used to wonder what exactly is the bass doing, because as an Indian classical musician, we do not have this so much of low end music in this. Most of the music is pretty much mid and high. So understanding what the bass is like, how the bass is actually creating that beautiful energy, I understood only after exposure to Vikku. So I always thank, and maybe because he was also got very inspired into bass because of Vikku.
Yeah, same. I think I saw you guys jamming, and it was like, before it's the thing, bass is just like, just play that note and that's all. But then,
just the root notes of what the guitar is playing.
That's just the root note. So then I heard our dad's jam, and then I heard, like, I started listening to RHCP as well. So that's one thing about Flea is that people, like, whenever you talk about Flea, everyone will be like, oh, he slaps. Okay. But then if you hear his bass lines, like even the non-slap ones, they are really amazing. And they're not just the root notes. They're like much more.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing.
Yeah, nice. And Prakash sir, you're one of the most prominent and respected musicians in the Hindustani classical scene. And you not only play slide guitar, but you also play a variety of other instruments, and you sing. And you had an incredible journey as a musician. And of course, we won't be able to cover everything you've accomplished in the time that we have today. So could you tell us some of the milestones or significant moments in your career so far that you may have also learned from or may have impacted you as a musician? It's a pretty loaded question, but
I technically feel that music is always a journey. I always say that it's a journey, and by the time you have, like how in real life also, like you might be wanting to go one day to some destination, and the moment you reach the destination and you see the destination, you kind of start thinking about a bigger destination than that. So it never feels like, okay, oh, this is a milestone. I have covered this. Wow, I've done this. It always feels like, okay, this is over now. Next, let's focus on something. So there is something the moment, because what happens is by the time you think, like the world might think that this is a milestone for somebody, and the time taken for the journey, that time taken for the journey teaches you so many more lessons in life, that by the time you reach that milestone, you have already got 4, 5, or 10 new milestones happening. And for me, milestones have never been only about, oh, this award, that award, and all that. I feel that as a musician, where are you headed to? What are you working on? If my compositions surprise me, I feel that, okay, then I feel happy. Means it has to surprise me. It's very weird. And I was in Norway once, and I met this amazing jazz guitarist who told me something very beautiful. He said, I would really want to see my students play what I have not taught them. I was like, wow, that is the greatest essence of learning, right? Because music being taught to somebody is about trying to cross your own boundaries and go somewhere else. It's not about, okay, this has been taught to me and I am executing this perfectly. Doing a great. So you are doing a great recital. You're not performing. Performing is when you get out of your comfort zone, try to do something. It might fail sometimes, it might be successful. But these are the greater milestones of life too, as a musician. And then also to connect whatever music you are doing to anybody who is listening to anything and making that person like it. It's a very dicey question. You might have composed something very beautiful, and then you play it to somebody who has absolutely no idea of music, and he might just say, oh my god, this is so boring, walk away. And it might suddenly feel, oh my god, I've done such an amazing piece of work. But then to think that, okay, I should do something which should make some connection to the person listening to it. So I think that's the greatest struggle of life, because it's not that I am talking about making it into like music for the gallery, music for making, this is going to appeal to everybody, so I'll just do. No. There is something which a musician practices to get out of his comfort zone, and maybe he should make music such that it should even bring the listener out of their comfort zone to listen to it. Right. Like it's both give and take. I will do something, well, I'll step out of my comfort level, and the listener also, because nowadays you find listeners telling, well, I listen to only house, I listen to only this, I listen to only that. This has happened now. As kids, we were exposed to way more variety of music, and we would not come up with conclusions that this is my favorite music and I don't like anything else. So we would hear a lot of music because I think we were at a time when we were only listening to music, like largely.
Right.
While as today's generation sees it also. Today, when I say, hey, let's listen to a song, it basically means you just switch on YouTube and watch the video.
Right. Yeah. Every song has music videos.
No song is being heard with a blank canvas in your head. So that would, you won't believe, I'm just telling this, I'm giving a long answer, but the first time I heard Pink Floyd, The Wall, that was the first album which I heard. It was like, when I actually saw the video, almost 8 or 9 years later, because India mein video access was very rare to get video of such content. So after almost listening to this album for 10 long years and umpteen number of rewind forwards and rewinds rather, when I saw the video, I was like, my God, I had visualized every single bit of it exactly like that. I was blown away by the thought that how on earth is this possible that I imagined this and I'm seeing it now. So every moment was deja vu, like, oh, I have seen this before. Then where? No, I had never seen it. it happens to us. Sometimes you might get to actually listen to a song, and it creates a picture in your brain. And then when you go and actually watch the song video, you'll be like, oh, Rama, a disaster this is. I'm sure it has happened to everybody.
Yeah.
These are all things connected to that. When we talk about what is music as a composer, what is music as a musician. As a musician, you're only executing certain things. As a composer, you're only visualizing certain things. As a composer, musician, director, arranger, there is a huge complex web of things working in your head when you're listening to, just this beginning line, now I can take it where? From here.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of different layers of imagination which come step by step. So it's always good to collaborate with a different musician because it throws a very fresh perspective at you.
Yeah.
It might even be like taking you out of your comfort zone. I agree to that. But the fact that, oh my God, that was a great representation. I never thought it could be played like that. It gives you new set of ideas.
Helps you grow as a musician.
And you grow as a musician, because I told only if we are playing everything in our comfort zone all our life, there's very less that we will grow as a musician. And usually it happens with composers. When a certain kind of a style of my composition becomes famous, I tend to usually gravitate to all my compositions sounding like that. And that has happened with every music director. It will happen. It's not impossible. But somebody who recognizes, no, last 2 years I've been working on stuff like this. Let me do this. Let me do something radically different. Then you actually bring in some freshness to your own self.
Right.
So, I would take some examples my basic example goes to Fly. If you listen to the first 3 albums, it sounds like just guys who just got into a garage and are too tired to work out, so just kept jamming. Whatever they felt. It's nice. Oh, let's play this only now. That's sounding nice. Let's play this. And then you listen to 3 albums later, there is a theme, there is a thought behind something. Then a couple of years, you realize that there was some bigger thoughts and themes behind that thing. So I think that's where it's like, somebody might suddenly say, when they listen to Nothing Else Matters for the first time, and I will think, oh, that's Metallica. Wow. And then I become a little more interested in Metallica, and I go and listen to their album 7 years before they release Nothing. I'll be like, oh, yo, Rama, what the hell was that? So
makes sense.
Every band probably grows when they go something completely out of their comfort zone. And they actually add incredible amount of listeners to that. That's a fact. It's never been happened that somebody did such an experiment that the whole band only got over.
Right.
You did Nothing Else Matters. Yeah, that is our last song. Sorry. No. After that, there are so many more. I think after Nothing Else Matters, they did some songs which were almost sounding like a country album and all. I remember. I don't know the song. There's one thing where the James Hetfield is sitting in a weird car, small little car, and he's wearing glasses and doing all this. I was like, oh my God, this guy has lost it totally now. He's become total innovation karte pagla gaya hai bichara.
Yeah. And I completely agree with the whole, when you listen to a song, you picture something in your head. But when you watch the video that they've put out with that song, it's like, oh, this is not what I imagined when I heard the song. This is completely different. But yeah, it really shows what pictures and what imaginations different people have when they put out their music.
Absolutely.
And it gives you a very fresh perspective as to when you listen to the same thing, what can come out of it.
Correct.
Yeah. And Anurag, like your dad had mentioned before, that you have perfect pitch, right? And I want to know, for one thing, I would like you to explain what perfect pitch is to the viewers, for a lot of people who don't know what it is. And I want to know how you discovered it, how you discovered you had perfect pitch, and how it's impacted you, not just in music, in the music part of your life, but also in general. How has it changed your perspective, or how has it changed your views on the world? Because perfect pitch is a pretty significant thing to have, and it's pretty rare also.
Okay, so perfect pitch is basically, to simplify it, you can identify any note which is played
from the standard international note.
So it's not changed much, but then it helps. I think for me, it helps me figure out things easily. Like if I have to figure out a bass line, and if I have to figure out anything to play, I think it helps me
to get to it immediately.
Figure it out really fast. And yeah, other than, I think I didn't really discover I had it. I was kind of told that I had it. Well, like as a kid, I used to, so it was like if they sang any alap, or if they sang like the sthai of a raga, I would identify the swaras for them.
Okay.
So yeah, so I identify the swaras for like perfectly, and that's basically the same thing. So like if they sang like Prathama Namana Gana, so that's like basically sa sa dha pa ga re sa re, and you know, sa has a pitch and dha has a particular pitch. So it started like that, and then I figure, and then I like, it was like that's how it happened basically.
Yeah. So basically everything has a frequency, and you have the ability to identify what frequency that is on the basis on this, on the all the notes that are standardized in music in a way. Yeah. Is it just with music, or can you like identify, like if I did that, would you be able to tell what closest note that would be?
I think if I heard it a couple more times, I would.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it the same every single time, but I'm pretty sure you could identify stuff like that, no? Or if someone hit a mug with a pen,
that
you can tell what note that is. Are there different degrees to perfect pitch? Like how, like you can really, where it's very easy to tell versus it's a little harder to tell, but you still have perfect pitch, or is it just standard?
Again, as you said, I think if you like, if there's a clap, or if you hit a pen to a mug, I think it's a little harder.
Sounds, I think, sounds are defined also basically because of the small little reverb attached to them. Like, you know, like if the reverb changes, then you can kind of identify a note better. Like, there is a little decay of that sound. It hits the wall and comes back. So there is a little, so that could be the room reverb, you know, which you're experiencing. So that's why, and if you look back into all of those London great studios, they used to carry these room mics, especially for drums also.
Drums for room, near room and far room mics people normally put.
So I was like, when first time I saw it, I was like, what stupid idea is that? Like this all, the whole drum is mic'd up already. But what is this for? And then I realized that they are trying to give a dimension to the sound by the dimensioning is happening by different shapes from the mic. From this far, the drum is heard like this. And from this close, the mic is heard like that, the drum. So it kind of gives a sense of space to the listener, the concept of reverb. Like if you like, you know, like, hello, hello, hello. Now suddenly by this one phrase, I gave you a picture of I am somewhere on a mountaintop.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So just that sense of using how the sound throw and how that thing has been done shapes, you know, like it completely music gets into a totally different ball game where it becomes sense of shape, sense of dimension. So yeah, it's there when we are talking about sense of shape and dimension, then these elements are more clear.
Okay.
Just a percussive.
Yeah.
But it helps greatly in tuning. But and also, you know, my question is, does it help you to get girlfriends?
Anurag speaking from experience, huh?
This is technically connected.
I'm just messing with you.
Too much of technical details about anything will not get you girlfriends.
Yeah, like you can play like all Polyphia riffs, okay, but then a guy playing an Ed Sheeran song with cape on second fret will probably, you know.
Yeah, but it's okay, dude. As musicians will be very, very impressed with the skills that you've got and all this technical stuff, and that's what's important, not the getting girlfriends part. But also one more question I had for you, Prakash sir, is you've also covered a variety of genres of music throughout the span of your musical journey. And could you tell me how you got into doing these different styles, and what were your influences into, or what made you explore into different styles of music, like not just Hindustani classical, but you also do rock, metal, even pop, and so on?
Yeah, means I get a feeling sometimes that I came into Hindustani technically very late. Because
Okay.
when I was a very small kid, uh, of course, musical influences at home, there was Kumar Gandharv and all that happening 24 by 7. But I was very drawn to music. Of course, in classical genre, I was very much drawn to Kumar Gandharv. Because when I heard Gandharv as a kid, I was like, this man is not singing for anybody's recognition. Kumar Gandhar always felt like he's somebody who's just sitting in his room and just singing for himself and not for the public. And that
Right.
was a very strange feeling because I always felt that classical music is a certain kind of music and a certain presentation, kurtas and bright kurtas and colorful kurtas and your perfumes and your just like as if it's a royal court rivalry, like oh the whole world is watching you. It was like that kind of imagining. But when I heard Kumar Gandhar, it kind of made me feel that oh, that man didn't bother about who's hearing him, but he was. So the thought about music as an inner expression became a very powerful thought. And that is what actually made me go very close to Pink Floyd. When I heard Pink Floyd also, I got the same experience that these guys are not playing because somebody is going to clap for them now. They're just playing for it because they're enjoying it such a way. And that is the reason why I was attracted to Pink Floyd so much. And then I found a great connection between Pink Floyd and what I was learning at home. And I heard Dark Side of the Moon, and that same evening, I was like, oh, this is exactly the same thing. The same instrument I am playing, and by just one twist, it goes into something like Pink Floyd, and by one other twist, it just becomes Indian classical music. So I found a great connection between these two, and that kind of opened my brains about, and no genre is untouched because every genre is ultimately music.
Right.
So today, now it is so difficult for me to say that what I'm listening to is this category and that category because everything is playing inside my head like a couple of notes and the music is flowing, and then it takes a long time for you to grow out of this fact that oh it's all this much, I know this, this is very simple, I know this here, but then when you actually try to go and explore the song in itself, you listen to a song and oh you know everything. I know the whole song. I'm not playing Vishwa. I'm just I immediately get the whole notation in my head. And I'm like, this is all it is. And then the journey to understand that somebody played this with making meaning to every bit of the life that they have spent on this planet. That commitment to just play one single chord in G in such a way that was all that was meant to be done there.
Right.
That passion and that that understanding was a long journey in my. So I felt that to reach a stage where I just play two chords and I can tell a huge story is also right because it doesn't see wow, oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, and then just one chord playing, and maybe that chord is telling you such a bigger story than those entire 64 note riff. And then there's no comparison. The 64 note riff guy is not stupid, neither is the guy playing a single chord stupid. Sometimes songs impressed me just straight, singer songwriter songs. They just take me to a very beautiful journey. Like, wow, if you can say it this beautifully, why not? And then maybe someday you have a can do this, and then can still enjoy it. I'm not being restricted by any imagination. Yes, every imagination. So I could be making a song which will be like just a 2 chord melodies. That's it. There's nothing more to it. But was I able to tell that story which I want to tell at that moment? That's all it mattered to me. So I do not compose with, okay, let me compose something psychedelic, or let me compose something Hindustani, or let me compose something very grand. No. composing some things, it's like basically telling a story. Sometimes you can tell a story in exactly 3 lines. The story is done in 3 lines. And then the same story could have been written in 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
So what is the story of Harry Potter? Basically, a kid with magical talents. You need a 1,000-page book for that. You can always ask that question. No? So J.K. Rowling, sometimes the thought which came to me is like, what made J.K. Rowling write such a beautiful, so many pages, and you read every page. So basically, information, such a huge information is just hidden in 3 lines. And then there is also the huge information. Depends on which part of the line you want to adapt to. You want to give out a 1,000 pages book to people so that only if they read 1,000 pages, they will understand. Or would you want to just tell a summary? So all these are, as a composer, you are at the liberty to just explore that. Today, I might just feel like saying 3 lines and finishing the story. That's it. I don't want to write a 1,000-page book here.
Right.
And then someday when I have my leisure, I can just go into the detailing of every composition, every bit, explore it beautifully. And different genres in music let you explore beautiful things. Yeah. Sometimes as a kid myself, I would like the percussion of a old Bollywood song, like dum, 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 dum. Like there's something about that percussion which is drawing me into it.
Very catchy.
Yeah. But the song lyrics could be very meaningless. I'm like, but the percussion stayed in my head. So that would come out someday in some other song which I would want to compose. I'll like, that groove was stuck in my head ever since I had heard that Kishore Kumar song. I heard a Kishore Kumar song, then 2 days later I heard a Bob Dylan song. Somewhere inside my head something happened, and that Bob Dylan song was going in on like that, and there was a percussion going in the other side, and both the tracks are meeting at some point of time. Why not? When did the world of music ever by itself say that this is not possible? Music never says that.
Yeah.
Probably musicians do. But yeah.
Yeah. And Anurag, I've mentioned this so many times, but you're playing bass now, and and you're also doing design at PES, and I believe you're also playing bass with a band that's from PES, right? A PES band. So I want to know, how's your bass journey been like, and how have you been balancing design and doing music, and how is the whole experience of being the bassist of a band been? Because a lot of people might not know, but the bass plays a very key role in the band, but not everyone can hear what the bassist is doing. But if the bassist was not there, they'll be able to tell. It's like that. It's like with the bassist, no, it doesn't make a difference. But the moment the bassist is not there, you can tell, like, oh my God, something's missing. So what's your experience been as part of a band, being the bassist, and of course your journey so far in balancing design and bass?
I think I've learned more bass while playing for the band. It's like learning on the job kind of. Because I think I remember we had music club recruitments, I think it was around a year back. So I think my bass was, 1 month old, 1 or 2 months old. And like I just started like playing properly. And yeah, I got picked by this band. It's called the Accord.
Okay.
We have Instagram page as well. Just check it out.
Yeah, check it out, everyone. The Accord on Instagram. Yes.
So, I've learned more bass while being part of this band. So that helps a lot. I think if you're part of a band. So also it's like you have a goal also to practice.
Yeah.
I think the jam session which is coming up. So we would have decided, I think we'll probably work on these few songs. So that gives you a better, it gives you more clarity on practicing,
A definite.
Yeah. Or if you're not part of anything, it's just random. There'll be like days where, okay, you'll pick up the bass and then you'll just be there like, I don't know what to play. Yeah. So that's there. And
exploring it. Yes.
And yeah, also I think being part of a band also kind of helps it balance out, with college and stuff.
Yeah. So it's not just studies. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's there. And And the thing is, everyone else in the band goes to the same college, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got the struggle of balancing things out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just balances itself out.
Yeah. As someone who's going to start college soon, I must ask you, does being in a band for the college give you some leeway with attendance?
It does. It actually does.
It does, no? I knew it. Thank God, that'll be pretty useful for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last question that I have for Prakash sir before we conclude today's episode is: do you have any advice for aspiring artists like myself also, who are getting into music and they are thinking of taking it up as a career? Any advice that you have for them?
Yeah, means I will always tell everybody that experiment as much as possible, because you have still not decided what exactly is the kind of music that you might be going to pursue all your life. So let yourself open to experimentation, like try out new things and try out things which might not look comfortable today, because everybody usually, as in music, it happens all the time, that you try to get into a nice, comfortable bracket. When you're happy playing this, exactly this is my groove and I have found it.
Yeah.
But maybe you haven't found your groove at all. Means it's somewhere out there, maybe some style of music. Number one. Number two, be truthful to yourself. Do not see, you can tell anybody a story. You can say anything to anyone, but you can't tell a story to yourself. So that's somewhere where you have to be truthful. You have to be, okay, if I am putting practice, I need to focus on this, I need to focus on something. It's very simple. Practicing is basically like hearing yourself do something repeatedly. So your mind, your heart, your physical being, everything is trying to attune itself to what you are creating around you.
Right.
So you will play a lot of music, you're also listening to a lot of music. Then you're listening to some other music, trying to get into that, and listening to some incredible drummers and trying to follow it. It's an amazing lesson in itself, because everything in life starts by trying to emulate something beautiful. Like as a kid, whenever I heard Simon Phillips, I used to be like, oh my God, nobody can ever play drums like that. And then I met Simon Phillips personally in Jakarta, and I told him that, you won't believe that I'm meeting you today, and I have just dreamt of this. And how on earth do you play drums like that? And he said, you just got to do it, that's all. And I said, that's like, such a simple answer. I thought he'll give me a 1 hour lecture about outlook. And my brain was also very skeptical about, 2 bass. Everything is 2. He has a stereo set. He would have 2 of everything. And then he would be just playing and I'm like, you have such a huge kit, but why are you playing just only 2 things? So because that song, that moment required just that. That's the beauty.
It's like he's a Nike. It's like he's sponsoring Nike. Just do it.
He kept on talking to me about Ravi Shankar for a long time. I said, it's okay, because I'm Indian. Don't just talk to me about Ravi Shankar. Usually every Western musician does it once. Oh my God, I've heard Ravi Shankar is so amazing. I said, oh yeah. I love Ravi Shankar.
Here we go again.
The journey hasn't ended. It might have begun somewhere. Maybe because Ravi Shankar he did those great experiments with Beatles and took the Indian music to such a big world stage. So Indian music catapulted to the world stage so much earlier, like by late 60s, 70s, it was like everybody in the world had heard so much of Indian music, but the intricacies are so huge. Indian music is so many layers to it.
Yeah.
There might be one portion, very appealing, very impressing, very quickly impressing. But then when you start going to study it, it'll like, oh my God, there are so many layers to it. Arey bapre, how many more years will this take? And then you'll tell the Guruji will tell you, beta, I have practiced 45 years. And, oh my God, that's the end of the story. In 45 minutes, I liked 7 bands. How on earth is this man talking about 45 years of learning the same thing? But somebody might talk about a journey. Ultimately, the interest to slowly try and become what you want to ultimately become as a musician. It's your own personal journey. Nobody can define it for you. You might get great examples, great thoughts, great things to follow, but ultimately your journey is your own, absolutely. And that has to be the most important takeaway, that yes, I have to, so you have to start traveling. You to have a journey, you have to traveling. What is traveling? Different ways. There are different ways of practicing. Practicing non-composition sometimes is amazing. I used to always think that, I will play this song in my way. I was an expert in it. I would just take any song and play it totally my own soloing, full amazing Hindustani style solo. And then I was like, how difficult it is to be able to play that song exactly the way it is, without changing one bar also. Do that. It's a regimentation of itself. You say, yes. But doesn't mean that regimentation takes over creativity and say, okay, I will never think of anything beyond it. Yes, out of love and respect, yes. I'm not thinking beyond the track basically means thinking beyond the track. It's taking your imagination to a different level. I'm not going to tell David Gilmour that, that comfortably in solo, uncle, I can play more Indian style than you. It doesn't make sense because he has put some thought behind it and playing it in that style for 30, 40 years today. And now also when the very first few notes of that solo enter, it's like, oh my God, what the hell? How did he think of this? That will be the journey which you have to take up and say, what made him take this? Or if I can someday go and actually look at those sessions and see which were the another 5 or 6 different lines which started the solo. Maybe that will give me a different insight too. But da 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 da. This is iconic lines. Hundreds and thousands of years people is going to play this. So that journey is going to be ultimately your own, where you identify yourself as what you want to do, how you want to do. And you could explore yourself in a band, you can explore as a soloist. The world is today, the mechanical, the automation, everything is available for you. You can just be an incredible solo. Who is that Japanese drummer? Akira Jimbo.
Okay, yeah.
Whenever I used to look at Akira Jimbo, I used to just wonder, how many hours of practice that man must have put. Insane. And then I look at a Simon Phillips, it doesn't look like it's only about the hours of practice. Maybe there is something, other dimension to it which you had not explored. Then suddenly you see Steve Smith, then suddenly now you see Indian drummers like Ranjit Bharat. So you get a feeling that the world of music is so vast that every time you see that you have touched the horizon, you have discovered 1,000 more new horizons. And that journey goes on, but you have to finally decide which is your own.
Yeah. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to the both of you for joining me in what is episode 18 of Offstage. It was my honor and privilege to have both Prakash sir and Anurag today. And you can check the both of them out on Instagram. If you're watching this on Instagram, they'll be tagged below. If you're watching this on YouTube, their links will be there. And as Anurag mentioned, check out the Accord, the band that he's playing.
The ID. I'll send the ID as well.
Accord,
yeah. The Accord. It's the Accord or the A chord. We ourselves don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, check them out too.
But what is the spelling?
It's A''CHORD.
Oh.
Okay. So it's like a pun.
It's up in the air, though.
Yeah. It's up to interpretation.
Like most of his designs.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for joining me today. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot as well, and I will see the viewers in the next episode. So yeah, see you.
Thank you, Anagh. And
thank you. Yeah.
I always loved your drumming and keep sharing.
Thank you so much. I will definitely continue. Yes.